Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's John Ross with the XPian Daily News Report. We're really going to show a look at Aurora here again, and we've done that a few times here. We like to do that because I believe as just people of faith. That's why I'm trying to do this through as people of faith and just people of Aurora and community. We just got to look at what's happening out there. And one of the people we're going to look at right now is on this 1st of February. Now, Groundhog Day is tomorrow, I believe. I guess it's the 2nd. I saw somebody from Florida. They made it alligators coming out was what they used down there. But we use a groundhog, but I don't know if there's much around there. Maybe hedgehogs. I don't know. Uh, on my right here, well, on your right, I guess it's my left. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. You can text me on that about. Uh, when you get older, your orientation starts to fail you sometimes.
Right.
But we have Bill Ketching, who is the Aurora Township Supervisor, and I've known Bill a few years now. And see my cap, I always wear. I like to wear this to cover up my top spot. I'll be honest with you. That's why I wear it, and I like it. And covers up my long hair and my back. I haven't cut my hair in a while. I've been a bad kid that way. I'm just waiting on that one. But Bill has been within Kiwanis many years, and he's done a lot of different things. I remember Bill when he was a reporter, even. I mean,
Oh boy, you're going way back with that.
I know. I'm going back. I know. He's a very community orientated guy, and currently he's the supervisor of Aurora Township. So welcome, Bill. Good to see you, guy.
Good afternoon, John. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're just going to have a little discussion on what's happening in the township and related somewhat to COVID-19. Of course, that's always out there, that COVID-19. So I'm just thankful that Bill is with us here. So I'll put up my official welcome sign. There's welcome, Bill. But anyway, we just appreciate Bill being with us. And I'm going to do something here. I'm going to put this down at the bottom here. We do two jobs at one time here, Bill. We do a little bit of everything. We do all things here. We're going to put that.
It's been fun with me. I have to set up the Zoom account, run the Zoom account during our meetings.
I'm doing a little bit of everything here. I'm the what we call it, graphic design guy, everything. I'm the whole thing here.
Township government's a lot like that. It's a lot of, jack of all trades, master of none.
I know. We're utility guys here. I know. You're a utility guy. You do a lot of stuff. And no, we won't say we're not good at we're doing good. We're trying to do our best. And I know that's what you're doing there in the township. So why don't you explain a little about what the township what does it encompass, and how many? What's the numbers on that about? I know it'd be more than Aurora because not necessarily, but it'll be the number in the township probably is a number is more than the city of Aurora. Is that correct or not? Because I know we go to other counties, so but generally I'm just thinking it's probably more. Is it more people in the township than the city or not?
No, there's about 150,000 people in the township, and the city is at a little over 200,000.
Right. Okay.
And we only cover the Kane County portion.
I know you're only covering Kane County, so that's where they get this other mix. But you're down at Montgomery, you cover that area.
A little bit of Montgomery, a little bit of North Aurora.
North Aurora, yeah. There's no such thing as North Aurora Township, folks. Nope, no North Aurora Township. It's Batavia, Aurora, and then we go the other way.
Actually, Batavia's a little interesting. Batavia and Geneva are separate townships. Typically, townships are 6 square miles.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, Batavia and Geneva divided. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a rivalry up there, if I recall correctly. So they're one of the few townships in Kane County which is not the standard 6 square miles.
Are we more or less than Batavia?
Less. You're basically half.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, Batavia and Geneva are the oldest areas in the town, and that's interesting because they're the oldest in the county.
Well, and typically the townships predate municipalities, the incorporated
Right,
areas.
right. So I'm surprised about that. Wow. That's
That's actually not true in Aurora, though. Aurora was founded before. Aurora was founded, I believe, mid 1830s. At least East Aurora was. Aurora was originally East Aurora and Aurora, but townships came into existence in Illinois in 1850
Oh, really?
because there was a state constitution change. Initially, a lot of the settlers in the southern part of the state, which was, this is the 1850s, were folks from the South and were French settlers, and they were used to countywide government. And
Okay.
then folks started coming up in the North, and they were from New England primarily, and they were used to township form of government. So the state
Right.
changed the Constitution to allow township form of government.
Now, I don't know Aurora settlers where they came from. Of course, I know where Batavia and Geneva are names from New York cities. And that's where some of the people, I guess, came from New York.
Right. Aurora is originally from Aurora, New York, I believe.
Same idea.
Yeah. And it's upstate New York.
Yeah, they're both that's upstate. I think you're right on that one. Now you mentioned that. And then, of course, the river was the big draw for these cities, Batavia, Geneva,
Yes.
Aurora. The river was key for
And
a
then
lot of
later the
commerce
railroad.
and stuff. Yeah, and power
Right.
and maybe we can do that again somewhat here. I don't know. That'd be an interesting thing. Now,
Well,
so you got so you said your township is 6 square miles. Is that what you're saying, or is it more than that?
yes. Um, Very roughly, Eola Road, the Route 30 bypass, Orchard Road, and then Butterfield/Oak Street. That's not
Right,
exact. There's actually a
right. I
county
know what
line
you're
road on
saying.
the
It's
east
not
side.
quite, but yeah. And then south, it's what's the south line
Route
then?
30 bypass.
Okay. So, but that's a good chunk of territory, and so Bill's a supervisor for that. And what are some of the services that the township offers, Bill? What are you offering there to the community? I know you're doing a you're doing a lot of different things. What would be some of them would be?
Sure. All townships in Illinois have to do three things. They have to provide, we call it general assistance, which it's local welfare, rental assistance for the poor,
Okay.
uh, assessment of real property for real estate tax purposes. So, you know, Mr. Offit or his assistants come out and say how much your property's worth for the
Okay.
value for property tax purposes,
Okay.
and then take care of unincorporated roads and bridges. But a lot of townships, especially in urban areas, take on additional responsibilities. For us, senior services, we provide paratransit services, and we also operate a youth center, have since the 70s, right by the old Aurora YMCA.
Right.
So those are the ride and cane program, the smaller white pace buses that you see running around town all the time, are either ours or we're paying for them. We also lean on 3 taxi cab services to provide services 24/7, 365 days a year for anyone over 65 or unable to drive, physically unable to drive.
Wow, that's and during this pandemic, that's very important to have these type of things.
Our
So,
ridership is down tremendously. That program is a partnership with Pace, and Pace limits us now to one person per ride.
okay,
Um,
okay, so yeah, okay, I got
or
that.
one person and the caretaker is allowed to ride for free if that person can't get
Right,
on and off the bus, or in their home. They're allowed to bring a caretaker friend
right.
for free.
Okay,
But the township subsidizes that program very, very heavily. It's $5 each way, up to 10 miles, and then it's a little bit more. But in normal times, we do 3,000 trips a month. we're down to 300 at the moment because
Oh, really?
we're really only doing medical appointments or dialysis.
Right. Well, those are important things, and I know a lot of people need those type of services, and it's a very great thing that you're doing there. And
But typically, in normal times, you can get a ride to church, you can get a ride to go shopping, get a ride to go get a hair appointment, um, and it allows seniors to remain independent, and stay in their homes, which is the goal of a lot of our senior programs.
yeah, so that's by appointment. Then you come at a certain time, and then you that's how that works. Appointment times.
Right, you have to call into the PACE call center and book your appointment, and
Okay.
then it's
Wow,
taken care of from there.
that's really nice, and it's a nice service that would
It
I could
started
see a lot.
as it started as a dial-a-ride program
I've
where the
heard of that
township just bought
before.
a
Yeah.
van, and you call the township and they'd take you, where you needed to go. But it became a much more formal program about 12, 15 years ago, where all the different units of government within Kane County agreed to a countywide program. Although there are differences up and down King County. We're one of the more liberal ones in terms of allowing, in terms of purpose of the trip. Like St. Charles Township, for example, only pays for medical rides. Um, but again, the history of our dial ride program was, you know, medical as well as shopping, and
Right. Right. Well, so right now it's more or less limited. You're saying still to
it's limited to
medical,
medical for now.
right? Because you've got one in a setting, or one or two at the most in each ride, so you got to make the best use, and the best use would be for medical
Right.
right now. Yeah.
Well, and for a long time, I mean, we transport a lot of the adults who are at the Thompson Keeler Center of AIDs, and they were shut down until about a month or so ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's what are some of the other things? I know you said you had youth service. That's been on sort of probably a hold somewhat, or how is that
Um,
going?
yeah, that's unfortunately, yeah, we tried to run a summer camp with really small numbers, and within the first week, two of our employees tested positive,
Wow.
and we sort of just called it a day and said that that there's no way this is going to work. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had so we've been closed since August. I'm very much looking forward to reopen here. We're about to hit the phase 4 guidelines, hopefully, from the state, which will allow us to reopen on a limited basis.
Right.
But we've also basically been following. I mean, there's no point in having an after-school program if you're not going to school.
Right. 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 And
And the park district has been very, very good about they expanded their programs. They have a much bigger facilities than we do, so we sort of let them, pick up the ball there until
right.
we can safely restart.
Right. Right. Um, so you mentioned about seniors. How does that work? What are some of the things you do for seniors there?
We don't necessarily do. We have a small lawn service. We serve 100 seniors, cut their lawns. That's all done on income qualified basis.
Okay.
Most of those folks are widows living in their own home. They're all homeowners. I mean, folks are making. I don't know how they get by sometimes. 30 at $25,000 a year. They're strictly living on Social Security, so we cut their lawn. And one of the new programs that we've offered within the past 2 years is to do snow removal,
Oh,
because
nice.
you get socked like we did over the weekend, and unless a senior has a very friendly neighbor, I mean, they can't necessarily afford to pay somebody $30 to shovel their driveway. So that's a new program we started. Um, Trustee Juanita Wells was actually very insistent on starting that, so I should give her a name check. Um, but that's been going well. and it's pretty heavily used. But in terms of senior services, a senior referendum passed 3 years ago now. It's only been on the tax bills for 2 years. That's cost of $7 for every $100,000 evaluation. So the voters approved that, and so we give us senior organizations funding to continue their services. Unfortunately, the thing has been that we've seen is the state money is not reliable. The state's broke, relatively broke. So their payments are very, very slow. Reimbursements are, I mean, it's just terrible to deal with. So senior organizations have started to look to, municipalities and referendums through townships to help fund their operations. The senior services, for example, a home health care visit, it was like a month-long waiting list. If you're, say you're, in my case, my mom, has, is starting to have some issues, health issues, is in the hospital. When they're returned to the home, senior services mandated by the state to do a well-being check-in to make sure their home is safe.
Yeah.
And it was a month-long wait for those because the state was so slow in reimbursing.
Really, they could have got out of the hospital or something, and they still had to wait. They had to wait a month.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, we were discussing before we got on air here one thing about COVID-19 testing, and I think that's somewhat related too. I just was telling Bill, I think you can. I think it was just verified the last. I don't know where I read this, but I know this is true. Illinois is like 47th on shots right now, and I'm wondering if it's just what you just said there has some bearing on all this. The way it's. I mean, the money's not there to do beyond the pharmacies. I was just saying, I tried to sign up. They had 5 pharmacies for the county. The county health department suggested 5 pharmacies. In the end, it only came out like 2 were working, and 1 wasn't working well. I still haven't got. I'd say halfway through Walgreens, and it's still stuck. They're supposed to send me some. I think I'm gonna have to re-sign up again. And I did get through to Meyer up in St. Charles, but this reminds me of I don't want to bring back bad memories, but it does remind me of the Affordable Health Care Act, the beginning of that. Illinois better get themselves a little more together here. Reminded me of that. It had so many glitches in the affordable health care. Get into that. That's a beautiful program.
Let's not talk about the Department of Employment Security. I have 2 employees who started getting unemployment benefits while they're still working for me, and then other folks can't even get a hold of unemployment.
I know. Well, that's another story. Or you might be calling some of these entities and they put you on hold forever.
Right.
And well, we hope.
I mean, this COVID's been a challenge for everybody, but I mean.
Yeah, it's the government. The state was not. Governor Pritzker he inherited. It wasn't too good shape, and it's still not in good shape. And he tried that tax thing; it didn't work.
Right.
Sadly, it didn't work.
I don't think they know how to. I don't think they know how they're going to balance the budget this year.
What now?
For as much as they balance the budget, This is why, and you and I had this conversation earlier. People, want to say, "Oh, there's too many townships." And,
I did bring that up. I'll bring that up now. It's too many townships. Go on, Bill.
I went there. I mean, bigger isn't better. We pass a balanced budget. We have absolutely no debt. So the state government is broke. The federal government is broke, except for the fact that it can print money.
Well, they're not quite broke. I mean, they are and then they aren't. They can make money and put debt, and they're not under a balanced budget thing.
Right.
So,
but townships are. I mean, we're the oldest form of government, local government in the United States.
Right.
And yes, we are sort of a throwback, and we don't necessarily publicize ourselves, and we don't have 5 PR people, on doing Facebook Live and newsletters and
Oh,
such.
shucks,
I'd
you're
like
doing
to.
one with me now. This is Facebook Live.
Well, right.
Oh, go
We have
on,
to do
go
the
on,
grassroots stuff like this.
go on, go on. But
But
so COVID-19 has done a lot of things for you. What do you think about the future here, Bill? What do you see the township and some of the things you mentioned? Some of the things hopefully coming back. What are some of the things right now, the COVID impact in the future? What's some of your thoughts there?
but I I mean, I hope we're back to somewhat normal by fall. I think it's going to be, spring and summer slowly, building up, back to capacity. We did invest some money in our main building in the youth center to, improve filtration, which thankfully was reimbursed through the county through the federal CARES Act. So we're appreciative of that money. But uh, we're just going to have to be careful. I mean, we don't want to be uh, you know, the site of super spreader events just for the sake of reopening.
Right. That's out
I,
there. Yep.
I mean, I'm so torn about bars and restaurants and banquet halls. I mean, I don't. How do you make a living if you can't be open? Other than takeout. But you also have to be careful. I mean, there's serious public health considerations.
There are. And I think one thing, Bill, I think this pandemic is making us all, well, I would say not all of us, but we're trying to think creatively how to get around this and how to
Right.
do things. And like our restaurants friends, I was always hoping that they could do more carry out. Some of them aren't equipped to do that or
Right.
don't even want to do it, I think. I don't know, but some of them aren't too equipped to do that. Uh,
Or outdoor dining.
Well,
And then
outdoor
you have
dining works well in California or Florida.
right. It's not so hot here.
I would say that's the same way with the live nativity. Yeah, well, it's real nice out in California, but live nativity outside with Mary and Joseph in the winter here in Illinois is another story. I mean,
Right.
we think, we can talk about outside dining, but it's not, you know, it's Illinois. It's a little difficult.
Yeah. You've
And
got maybe 3-4 months where
in
that's
some of our places, I know, well, I don't know if they did this in Aurora, but they did this in Batavia. They blocked off a couple streets and made, you know, put out tables and stuff for the restaurants. And it helps some, but it's still they're still in bad shape. We lost a restaurant or two in Batavia. I'm sure we lost some in Aurora.
oh yeah.
And it's just been something else. And now you don't handle the PP money or whatever we call it. You don't work with that, do you, at the township level?
No, the paycheck protection.
Yeah,
No, that's done through banks and lending
right.
institutions.
Okay.
We don't even the CARES money, which is the money to help local government. At least in Kane County, went through the county.
Okay.
And the good news is they're also getting. I mean, I expect there's been an eviction moratorium for most of the pandemic, and we
Right.
offer rental assistance to the township as a matter of business. My understanding is the county is going to have about $15 million to distribute for rental assistance and for homeowners as well.
Okay.
And my understanding is they're working with the city and the Neighbor Project,
Yeah, the neighbor
formerly.
project, I was going to mention that. So I assume you work with them too. They're doing some of these. They're doing both rental and foreclose. I mean, they're doing foreclosures and eviction stuff. Yeah, but I think they're worried more really right now. Well, they're down the road. They're going to be worried about the foreclosures, but right now they're worried about the eviction front.
Right.
And
And at the moment, there's a moratorium, but when that moratorium is over,
I think is it the end of this month? Or was it
it's
last month? I forgot. Or is it March? Or
the
it's
end of this month, but
or the end of
Pritzker
February. I
made
mean, the
the
end of January, the end of February.
end of February, and the governor may extend it again. I mean, he's extended it several times already. So,
Yeah, and then of course we got to help out our landlords, our mom and pop landlords
right,
that are being hurt here too. So
right.
it's a big
It's like with
problem.
bars and restaurants. I mean, there's a balance there. I mean, a landlord has to get, has to, pay a mortgage, probably has to pay their taxes,
Right,
has expenses, and if there are folks that would take advantage of this, you can't evict them.
right,
So, but I mean, there are obviously people who are really really hurting,
right.
because their industry is wiped out.
Yeah, so things are coming maybe, and I know you do a lot of assistance. You mentioned that for people with money and helps that way too, right? You mentioned you
Yes,
do assistance.
we
Now,
do general assistance, and
is that funding adequate, or how is that? How do you?
that's all funded through property taxes through the township, and our funding's fine.
So
Um,
you can, if there's an increase here, you think you can handle more, a little, because
well, we're going to need that
there
federal.
could be some more coming here with when these things end, maybe these evictions and foreclosure. I mean, there could be more. A Hassett House would be the same way. Other social services could be an increase coming here, maybe.
Absolutely. And we have good relationship with all the local charities and organizations and churches, that try and help folks. So I mean, we're going to have to plan, and we already know what everybody does on a normal course of business, but this is obviously extraordinary times,
It
and
is.
we need to communicate with each other and let each other know where to send folks that need help. And it sounds as if the bulk of the money is going to go to the city and the neighbor project.
Right. That's
There
what it,
was some discussion about going to townships. I think the problem there was, especially the western townships don't have any staff. In fact, several have agreements with Aurora Township to run their general assistance program because they don't have.
was that right? So you're helping out some other townships too.
We have intergovernmental agreements. We cooperate and try and save money.
Right. Yeah, I talked with the director there, executive director Rick Guzman, a few weeks ago, and he was mentioning like it sounded like his program there was maybe most of the county except for Elgin, maybe he was doing in a lot of western suburbs. I mean, on these
For the western townships, yeah.
yeah, or yeah, and Kane and West even, and he was doing quite a bit.
Hmm.
And it sounded like that he was being designated his group for those things too, it looked like.
Yeah, I talked to him late last week, on this very issue, and he's still waiting for some details from the county and the city, and we'll all sit down together and pick our lane and know where to send folks to get help.
Yeah, oh good, good. And that's part of that Biden package too, right? I think they have
No, this
more.
is money that's already passed.
I
The
right, but
federal
there's
government's
more
been
in
pretty
that, I
slow
think.
about
Yeah.
getting out.
So right, no, this is from that December money probably
Yes,
right now, and there's supposed to be some more coming if we ever get that passed here soon. But I think there's more of the same idea here.
yes,
And it probably was the extended moratorium more too.
yes.
So anyway, these things are important. And now, if you want a little more information on the township, I suggest look at their Facebook, Aurora Township, uh, uh, on Facebook. I think they had a lot of things there that could help you. Uh, and Bill, anything else you wanted to give us here? A little more
I'll
thoughts?
plug, our regular website is auroratownship.org.
Right.
We don't post a ton of news there, but there's a lot of information there about what we do. The other thing I'll tout, is we have a, economic development fund. We have a low interest revolving loan fund. So if anyone out there is interested in starting a business, um, there are some rules because the money came from the state in terms of the loan amounts. We could only loan $15,000 for every low to middle income job created or retained. Um, the other big issue is we have with smaller businesses, lack of collateral. But we've done 6 projects in the last 8 years, with about 250 jobs we've either kept or created here in Aurora Township. And I mean, everybody wants lower taxes. The way to do that is to create more business
Right.
and increase that part of the revenue stream.
Yeah,
So we've been trying to do that.
you were watching. Bill got involved with me a few days ago about these TIF things. I got talking, and I sort of we got mentioned about the casino, and Bill, I looked that up, and the tax money from that will be going to East whenever
Yes.
that comes around. And up in the other area, or this is another question. Actually, that's not in Aurora Township, is it?
That's Batavia Township. Yeah.
Is that in DePage or something? That
Actually, that's still Aurora
Chicago,
Township.
the mall,
The
the
outlet mall's
outlet
still in
mall.
Aurora Township.
Oh, okay. It's not quite east enough yet. It's getting
Right. You
close.
got to get up to Butterfield to.
Yeah, that's north, but east, it's still in the township.
Yes.
That's very good. But that's
But
in
I mean,
Batavia
if the
School
casino moves
District.
up there,
That's
that's going to
another.
be a big hit
Huh?
for.
What, Bill?
I said if the casino moves up there, that's, I mean, going to be a big hit for East Aurora.
Oh no, East Aurora doesn't need. No, we don't. No, yeah, because like I said, that's Batavia School District and
Right.
things like that. Well, Bill, I thank you for sharing a little, and you have a little glow light on you
Sorry,
all
but
the time here, but
the lighting moved on me here in the midst of the interview.
it's glowing on you. So we'll just say Bill had some glow light on him. But remember that you can get what's it, AuroraTownship.com? No, org.
.org.
.org. And then we got Facebook, Aurora Township. So those are the 2 ways you can learn more about the township and the things they're doing. They're going to hopefully get more cranking when we get more with this virus, getting it under control. We've talked about that here. We're a little ways from that yet, but it's around the corner. Hopefully.
I'm very happy my bus drivers and the frontline workers at the road district are getting their first batch of vaccinations this week. They became eligible through the state.
Well, that's good.
guidelines.
That's good. Well, I'm supposed to
And
be.
our
I won't
our
tell
bus
you how old
drivers
I
have
am,
been
but I'm supposed to be eligible. Let's just put it that way. It's sort of a privilege.
our bus drivers have been just absolute heroes throughout this.
No, those people are frontline workers. They are above age factors. They're supposed to be. They're up there with hospital workers and police and people like that. I
They have so much
think the next
contact with
level
the
right
public.
after that is seniors, but those people should really get that. And I've been very fortunate. I know some people in nursing homes have been getting the vaccine. I know I'm happy about that.
Yeah, they were supposed to get that first, even
Right.
before.
And I know one nursing home in Naperville that did it. So I'm sure the other ones have been doing it here in King County. And that's an important thing to get them and then the nurses and everybody like that. So Bill, I thank you for coming by and just this little chit chat. I would call it a chit chat. It was more of a chat or chit or whatever. Chat, I don't know. But I'm learning more about township and the government there. So remember, this is going to be coming more down the road here, some good things with the township. So I thank Bill for being with us. I'm going to put up, let me see, where am I putting this guy? Let's see what I got here. Oh, I want you to remember the COVID-19 testing. That's at the VNA is offering that at a couple sites in Batavia and Aurora. And this is a drive-through thing, though. So it's 892-4355. So 892-4355 for that. And then one more thing here, Bill. One more. Hopefully, we'll have some guests on Wednesday. Right now, it's a mystery guest. It's a mystery to me too right now. So we'll find out who that is. We'll be working on that. So again, I just want to thank Bill for coming by here and just visiting with us this afternoon. And it's been a pleasure to have him with us. And so, Bill, thank you very, very much again for being with us.
Thank you again, John, for having me. And have a blessed day and a blessed day for your viewers.
Yes. So for right now, I'll just say, God bless everybody out there. And bye bye. We'll see you Wednesday, Lord willing. Bye bye. Bye bye.